guys, I'm Sarah and today I want to share with you a classic recipe for pot roast. As it's almost fall and I was thinking about my favorite fall foods, and when you think of that, you think of stews and roasts. It's perfect for when you're trying to entertain big groups of people or if you're coming up with a recipe to make ahead of time for your week. Either way, it's a really awesome recipe, very delicious and very easy. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get started. Alright, to start, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Next, you're going to want to mince up your garlic and set that aside. Don't worry about it being too perfect since it's just going to be in the dish as a flavor component. Next, you're going to peel your carrots and start cutting them up into nice chunks. I like to do this diagonally because I think it looks nicer and it just gives a more hearty quality to the dish. So for the potatoes, before you begin cutting them, you want to first scrub them clean and then go ahead and peel them. Then begin cutting them up into nice big pieces. Since it is going to be cooking for a while, you want to make sure that it doesn't dissolve into the actual stew itself, so keep those into nice big sizes. Alright, so here's the fun part. We're working with our meat, and you're going to want around 3 pounds of a chuck roast or a beef shoulder. I'll have the specific amounts in the description below with the full recipe. For this, you're going to want to look for something that's well marbled so that it has a lot of good flavor. And then you're going to go ahead and just salt that very generously. Remember, this is a really big piece of meat, so a lot of salt on the outside is actually a really good thing because it'll also flavor the rest of the dish. So after it's salted, add some pepper and make sure to put that on all sides as well. So once you've seasoned all sides of your meat, make sure to also coat it with a little bit of flour. This is going to add a really nice amount of flavor as well as a crust when you actually go ahead and sear it, which is the next step. Okay, so when you begin searing, make sure you have a nice heavy-duty pot, either a cast iron skillet or something like this, which is a Dutch oven. And then just go ahead and start searing it with a little bit of oil. Make sure that it's up to temperature as well so that it begins to sear right away. When you do this, you're not looking to cook the meat through. You want to just make sure you're getting a nice sear on all sides. So once all the sides are browned, you're going to take this out and just put it on a plate and leave it aside for now. And then leave all of the bits that are inside the pot because that's where all the flavor is coming from. Then put in all of your sliced onions. Go ahead and stir this around and then just make sure that it develops some flavor and some color, and then go ahead and add in your garlic. The reason I cook the onions first is because garlic burns very quickly, so just make sure to get a good color on the onions first and then add the garlic. And then go ahead and add your meat back in with all of the juices on the plate as well. Remember, just keep thinking about where all the flavor is coming from. Alright, so for the wine, you're going to want to stick with a red and something that's really drinkable. Avoid anything that's too sweet. And so for this, I'm just using a low sodium beef stock that I got from the store, but you can always go ahead and make your own. Here, I'm adding in a nice handful of thyme and a couple bay leaves, and these are just going to be a really nice way to flavor the dish. You definitely don't want to forget this step. Before you transfer this all to the oven, you want to make sure to keep this on the stove at a temperature of medium to high heat for about 10 minutes just to make sure that the wine and the broth and everything comes up to temperature before it actually gets to the oven. So while the meat is in the oven and cooking, I'm going to actually take my vegetables and go ahead and start sauteing them. Rather than putting it in with the pot roast, I like to do this on the stovetop first just because it adds a lot more flavor. Make sure to salt and pepper the vegetables and get some nice color, and once you think it looks good, go ahead and add that in with the pot roast. Make sure to also add in your potatoes. You don't want to saute those, you're just going to add those in. And then put your pot roast back into the oven to cook. So once your pot roast is finished with cooking, you can take it out of the oven and go ahead and start plating however you like. I like to do this on a cast iron skillet. I just think it looks a lot nicer and it's also a very hearty look. So that's what I'm doing here. And the sauce is going to be very soupy. You can serve it that way if you like. I personally like to make it thicker, so what I do is I'll take a few spoonfuls of the actual broth and then add some cornstarch in it, mix it up, and then add that back into the main broth, and then that really nicely thickens it up and makes it more of like a gravy. To finish plating, I go ahead and chop up some thyme and use it as a nice garnish. It's done, it's ready, it looks amazing, and I don't think I can wait any longer, so I'm gonna go ahead and dig in. And you can already tell it's super tender, just extremely juicy. All of the juice from the onions and the garlic and everything and the wine deglazing it. Looks so good. All right, I'm excited. Get a little bit of everything. All right, here we go. Again, super tender and just very flaky. That is so good. You guys have to try this recipe. Let me know how it is. Leave comments below, and I hope you guys come back for more recipes. Thank you.